Sports Buzz is here to take all calls and answer all questions about your favorite team, coach, or player, local, regional, and national. Sports Buzz, taking calls and kicking game.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org. This is Louisville's only live TV sports talk show, and we want to hear from you. 964-2121, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. I'm your host, Greg Brom. Joining me tonight from the CardinalConnect.com and Inside the Press Box daily on 1450 The Sports Buzz is Nick Coffey, our good friend. Nick, first time on the new set.
I like it. It's much more comfortable.
It's conducive to two guys sitting around
talking
Monday
sports.
morning quarterbacking.
Absolutely.
Basketball. And we're going to, and I don't even know where to begin with the Louisville game. Lost to Georgetown 53-51 yesterday. Lose earlier in the week to Villanova. 3 losses in a row for the Cards. Let's go with a general point here, Nick. On the worry meter, 1 to 10. How worried are you? Where do you fall on the worry meter? 10 being very
I'm going 7.5. And it's because...
It's pretty high.
Well, it's high because you don't really... what has you, I guess, not hitting the panic button right now is because you know this team is good. You know they've got the pieces. They have the talent to where if they do get it together, they're going to be just fine. And there's not a team in the country, even with Louisville struggling, that you watch and say, okay, there's not a scenario where Louisville can't beat this team because of the parity. But there's no reason they should be losing games the way they are. And yes, Villanova, not very good team. Syracuse, one of the top 10 teams in the country. Georgetown, a very respectable team, but you just don't lose 3 games in a row. And the reason why I'm at a 7.5 and maybe not a 6 is because they played what we thought. I mean, the second half, the meltdown, not making free throws against Villanova. You could look at that game and think, well, if they just made free throws, they still would have played bad, but they still would have got the win, and that's what good teams do. They actually played worse against Georgetown. And credit Georgetown, a team that makes you look ugly because the way they slow it
Louisville
up.
always they have
bad.
problems with Georgetown. I mean, they haven't beaten them since 2009. That's a team that has Louisville's number.
Yeah, and offensively, you know, I know this is a team that is very, very focused on defense. The defense is the reason why they're a national championship contender. That's what they're driven on. But the offense is bad, and it shouldn't be that bad. You've got 3 McDonald's All-Americans, Peyton Siva, Wayne Blackshear, Shane Bohannon. You know, you keep in mind, who knows if they really were that good out of high school, but that's what their rank is. Russ Smith, a National Player of the Year candidate, for some reason didn't start on Saturday. And Gorky Zhang, one of the top center prospects in the NBA draft. So it's a little concerning, but you know the pieces are there. Hopefully Pitino can get it together.
I'm more at a 5 or 6 on the worry meter, and basically because we've seen this script before. It's the same script really every year. Last year it ended in a Final Four run, but about this time every January, Louisville reinvents itself.
Absolutely.
Rick reinvents the team.
Hall of Fame coach who just gets it together at the right time, right?
Yeah, I mean, in 2 weeks from now, I'm pretty confident it'll come together, but I think it'll come together by going back to what they were doing a little bit in December. The Russ Smith situation, Nick, I really don't know what Rick is doing. I thought he had gotten over this. He had said, let Russ be Russ. I mean, with Russ Smith,
that's what you have to do.
I think we've seen that you've got to live with 5 bad shots in a row because he'll, at some time during the game, he'll make 4 shots nobody else can make. He's a slump buster. That's what he is. Louisville's offense, for now going on several years, has had dry stretches,
10 minutes without a field goal.
10 minutes yesterday without a field goal. And then in those situations, the difference this year has been Russ Smith has been able to just go 1-on-4.
Instant offense.
And score. And that's why they were scoring in the 70s and 80s, because Russ was averaging 20 points a game. I don't think this team can be good on offense, really good enough, unless Russ takes 20 shots a game and averages 20 points.
There's something to be said for when he is doing Russ Smith, how much does that really get others involved? But at the same time,
when to win or get others involved. What's the goal?
That's a good point. But when he's not doing that and nobody else is getting involved, the offense is even worse than when. I mean, you take Russ Smith's 20 points per game that he can get you if he stays aggressive on any given night, almost every night. He's more often to get 20 than not whenever he stays aggressive. And that's what you need, because this team, when it comes to half-court offense, they should be better, but they're not. But Russ Smith has been able to mirage that this year because he just makes plays.
He makes plays. I'd rather have, I know it's great to get guys involved. And I think the offense in general flows better if other guys are part of the offense. But for some reason, this unique group of players with Russ Smith, I don't think the other guys, when fully involved, have enough offensive game or haven't shown enough or enough explosiveness that they can carry the scoring load.
I agree.
Russ, sometimes the best thing instead of a pass, to be honest to me, is Russ just throw a shot up and everybody go chase after it, and that gets some energy, you get some aggressiveness going in the team, and it just makes something happen. I mean, I've been a Russ guy, but I just don't think his big strength, Nick, was he had no conscience.
Absolutely.
Why do you want to take a guy with no conscience? Now he's thinking. You can
thinking
tell the
I must
difference.
be doing something wrong. I'm projected as a National Player of the Year candidate, but yet for some reason I'm not going to start. And I think the only stretch that we've seen Russ Smith really just be able to run free and be himself has been probably the first 2 months of the season, and he was a National Player of the Year candidate. So I don't know why you would want to change that.
Rick was applauding that.
He was validating him as the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have to go back a bit. I think it was just killing him to accept some of the poor shot selection, and he just finally had enough, and he's sent Russ to the doghouse, so to speak. But I mean, Russ is a guy, I think you tweak it around the edges a little bit. You don't just overhaul the whole game. It's like Peyton Siva. Over here, Peyton Siva, for 4 years, he continuously gets 2 fouls real quick. It's a third. I mean, in that situation, you understand Peyton will be Peyton. He gives you a lot of good things. You tweak it around the edges a little more. And I just don't think this team offensively can score 70. This team needs to was scoring in the 70s, even in the 80s, with Russ scoring 20 points a game. If Russ gets 12 points a game, this team will not have enough offense that those remain vulnerable to the upset like they were this week.
They certainly haven't shown enough. The other guys haven't shown enough to think that they're able to carry the offensive load like Russ has.
All right, we got a caller already on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. Hey, Terry, you're up with us. Thanks for calling.
Yes, I got several things to say real quick. First of all, I don't see the hungry in their eyes like they did when they played Syracuse in, South Florida, one with the little guy. They just don't have that, because when they went up Syracuse, they had it for a minute, and then it seemed like when they lost the ball at the end, when they should have won, just like the Duke game, it's like all lights went out, because after that they lost Villanova, and they played a little better with Georgetown, but, right there at the end, the lights went out. They just don't have that hungry like they did when they were playing in Madison Square Garden. And that's where they need to be. They had it at the beginning. Now they lost it. They need to hurry up and get it back like Monday.
Real quick turnaround. They need it back Monday. And Nick, Terry talks about the hunger in their eyes. I think there is a lack of confidence right now. It's shaken a bit. They really need a good effort. They got to win Monday. Rick's right.
They have to get a win, and she's absolutely right. This team, the morale looked completely different on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. We're taking your calls, 964-2121. Talking about Louisville, we'll talk about Kentucky as well as we move along here. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
14 seconds ago, give it up on the right to Gordon. Gordon across the timeline. Timeout's left out front to McDonald. 6 seconds ago, right corner, Price for the shot. Holy moly! 2 seconds to go.
Are you in pain? Suffering from back, leg, arm, or neck pain? Wondering if you should see a medical doctor, neurologist, chiropractor, or rehab therapist? See them all in one facility at Dynamic Healthcare. The Dynamic team offers cutting-edge, non-surgical treatment, including deep tissue laser, decompression therapy, and much more. Relief is available, affordable, and covered by most insurance. Schedule a free doctor's consult to see if you qualify for this team approach.
We're back to Sunday Sports Buzz, presented by livingforless.org. Greg Brom along with Nick Coffey. We've been talking about Louisville. 3 straight losses, 53-51, only 51 points yesterday versus Georgetown, a team that has had their number for several years now. And we started talking about the Russ Smith situation. He's in the doghouse a bit with Rick Pitino. Russ, when he got in the game, Nick, I think he looked like he wasn't the same guy. He wasn't as freewheeling and comfortable to take the shots that he takes. I think there was a stretch in the second half, though, where he did go a little bit of playground. That's his game.
He went a little playground and also hit a huge shot to even get it to within 1 towards the end there.
Yeah, and I'm okay if him coming off the bench personally, I can see some benefit in getting other guys involved. But, he was 4th on the team in minutes. I don't want Russ Smith 4th on the team in minutes. I want him 1st or 2nd on the team in minutes. And he was on the court at crunch time, yes, but, like at the end of the game, which we're going to talk about that shot, man, the last several times, now, against Syracuse, maybe Russ didn't go in the right spot. That's why he didn't get the ball, possibly.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Man, you got the best one of the best one-on-one players in the country, a guy that can get in the lane, draw foul, and finishes. For a guy his size, he finishes at the rim. He hasn't touched it at the end of the game. And the last scenario, talk about what you thought of the last scenario for the Cards with Peyton Siva.
Rick Pitino made it very clear after the game and what he said in his comments about the situation there. He much rather would have had the ball. He said something I don't think a lot of people agree with, but he said that was what he wanted. He wanted them to hold and get the last shot, even though they were down, which I've never been able to understand. That I think that is just my opinion. I don't get it. Rick Pitino is going to be a Hall of Fame coach when it's all said and done. I won't be, but I just don't understand why you would not want to extend your opportunities and maybe you could attack the rim with 18 seconds left. If you don't get fouled or if you miss the shot, then you can foul. Then you're going to have another chance. They could make both free throws, make one. Regardless, you're going to have a chance to tie or win the game. And I just don't understand. And this isn't a knock on Peyton Siva because I think he might have not made the best decision down the stretch there at the final play offensively. But there's not many other guys in the country. I think if you polled coaches around the country, I think a lot of them would say, name 3 guards. I think Russ Smith would be one of the guards that they would want the ball in their hands. They would want that they know is able to attack and make something happen and possibly get to the free throw line. If Russ has the ball, they get to the line and hits 2 free throws, they probably win that game.
Yeah, and Peyton, his strength is getting in the lane and making something happen. I mean, I think in that situation, if you are going to go with Peyton, he's got to lower his head and come, high water, whatever. He's got to go full speed into the lane and try to make something happen. He can't pull up for a 20-foot shot.
Didn't make the defense work at all.
He said, I know Rick might have just said this at the spur of the moment, but he said Peyton's the best shooter. He's not the best shooter on the team. I mean, he's not the best shooter. I don't want him really taking a 20-foot shot in that situation, but I do think, you go for the last shot. It's not the last shot, really. I think you put the shot up with about 8 seconds. You don't start driving with 8 seconds. You put it up with 8 seconds. So if they get the rebound, you can foul them with at least 4 or 5 seconds.
Maybe more, yeah.
Maybe more. I mean, that's still kind of going for the last shot. I'd rather be up one with the other team having to go the length of the court on Louisville's defense than down 1 going for the absolute last shot of the game.
And there was it was bizarre to me because if you go back and look at it, Georgetown gave Louisville so many chances at the end of the game. So many calls here and there. They called a jump ball, and when it should have been a foul almost. It was just, are they going to get? I kept thinking, are they really going to get another chance? And then when I see them pounding the ball, 40 feet from the rim,
it's like, don't wait too long. I've seen many times in that situation, Louisville gets at the end of a half or something, or Louisville hadn't even got a shot off. I was like, don't wait too long. Don't wait too long.
That's exactly what they did.
and they kind of waited. I mean, they got a shot off, but you want to have time. I think you want to have time to foul. If you go down 3, get a chance for a 3-point shot, driving to the the length of the court, something like that.
Completely agree.
But I've seen coaches do it the other way, and Rick Pitino. And you and I are two of the biggest fans, even when last year people were on his back saying, no, this guy, he's a Hall of Fame coach. Maybe he's got a method to it.
Maybe.
I
hope so.
Later, hopefully. This is the January script, though. Yeah. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Linda, you're up.
Hello, I'm so glad I can talk to somebody about what I've been thinking about. I love Russ Smith. I've loved him since last year. I wish Rick would let him play the way he wants to play, quit holding him back, let him start. He's just, that Georgetown game, it showed him sitting on the bench. He looked so disgusted and so hurt. And like you said, when he got in the game, he wasn't himself. He couldn't do what he does.
I can see a difference. I mean, I saw our good friend Chip Cosby tweeting during the game. It had, noticeable that Russ looked like he didn't know how to play, how he was supposed to play. He was thinking when Russ's game, really, to me, offensively, it's no conscious, no inhibition, no thought.
He's thinking, obviously, I must have done something wrong, so I'm going to try to switch it up and do it a little different, and that didn't. He ended up with, I think, 12 to 14 points, but it clearly wasn't the usual Russ Smith that we've seen this season, and that's what you need. Like I said, they lost by 1 point. Yeah. But yet, I think that was the worst they've played from start to finish this season.
It may have been. He scored 51 points in a game. I know Louisville's offensively, half-court offense hasn't been stellar. They've never been known for their half-court game, but I think their half-court defense hasn't been that good either. I saw some open shots in Georgetown. The last several games, Syracuse and Villanova's shot in the high 40s. And even Georgetown, the first half, got a lot of open looks.
That's a very, very good point, because Rick Pitino mentioned this at his press conference last week, so I noticed it quite a bit in Georgetown, and then looking back at the Villanova game. They're in that zone, so they match up, and they don't particularly have to guard a person. They're guarding an area, but they match up with that area, whoever's there. And Russ Smith and Peyton Siva are 6'2" at best, both. Siva's probably 6 foot. They just have extend their hand as if they're just guarding that area. They're not actually contesting a shot. If you're on Georgetown or Villanova, you're probably there because you can knock down shots that are somewhat, just with a hand around you. You got to contest the shot.
Tall, lanky guys, too. Yeah. You got to get right up in their grill a little bit more. And I saw some guys scrambling around like they were getting out of position, kind of when the offense was swinging around. So some work to do on half-court defense as well. Let's go to Mike.
Hello.
Mike, you're on.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Greg? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing good, man.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to comment about Russ Smith. Can you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to comment about the panic meter on the Cards. I'm not really. If you notice the last couple of years, they always going. They're a streaky team. I'm a diehard Cardinal fan, but they're a team of spurts. And last year, if you remember, they went on a losing streak right before tournament time, and wham, they got out of their system, and there they are. Winning streak, went to the Final Four. So it's good. I would rather see them get out of their system early in the season and be hot come tournament time, which they seem to do. And another thing I wanted to touch base on, Greg, was about Rick Pitino. He's a very good coach, as you guys said. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, but it seems to me that he holds back some players to a certain extent, and really don't allow them the freedom or the presence to go out there and really be themselves and really contribute like they really can. Take like Russ Smith, he makes them afraid to make a mistake. It seems to me, and I think that was what was going on with Russ Smith. He went out there and was sort of afraid to get further in that doghouse with old Rick. So
Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate the comments.
Really good call.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments, Mike. And you know, I think there is a method to Rick's madness. Maybe he's trying to get the other guys involved at this time of year so that later on let Russ let the reins off him a little bit, and then other guys have confidence to contribute a little bit more. But I think the reason they were number one was that Russ was averaging about 20 a game. You had that offensive explosiveness.
You had that threat.
Yeah,
one guy.
You had one guy.
And there hadn't been a year in years past when Louisville they made the Final Four last year, but they didn't have the one guy that everybody feared. And they really didn't. I mean, Siva came through and made plays, but wasn't necessarily scoring in the tournament. Now Russ Smith was that one guy that Louisville hadn't had in a long time. That was just you knew if Lester was an injury or something, he was going to get you 18 and 20 points. And one thing I want to comment about Mike's call that's a really good point. Something that I've noticed in recent years, and this isn't a knock on Red Team, it's just something that I've noticed about a lot of the guys who come to Louisville that are very highly rated. This goes back to what Mike said about, he doesn't get the most out of his guys. Some of the guys who've had, really good careers here are the ones who nobody ever expected that to happen. Preston Knowles, Kyle Couric. But then you look back at some of the other guys who were very highly rated, Samardo Samuels, Terrence Jennings, Wayne Blackshear, Derek Character. I mean, not writing off Wayne Blackshear. I think he could be there, but right now he doesn't look to be the physical McDonald's All-American.
I don't think Louisville can rely on him this
exactly.
year.
I would love to see that, but I have to agree with you.
I haven't seen enough yet. I know there's a lot of people, and you had it, and we're going to go to our break here in a second. You had it on your blog this week. I want to talk about it when we come back in the next segment too, is who would you want to lead our team in shot attempts? And Russ Smith leads the team in shot attempts. And a big majority of people on Twitter that follow your blog, CardinalConnect.com, wanted Wayne Blackshear to lead the team. I haven't seen it. That's based on reputation from high school, and I haven't seen it yet. It is there, but in this collection of guys, I think Wayne must need to be the guy because there's too many other guys. He gets lost in the shuffle, and I don't think he's done enough other than jump shoot yet. But we're gonna take your calls, 964-2121. Be back in a moment. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by LivingForLess.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
The landscape of sports talk radio has changed in a big way. 1450 The Sports Buzz brings you the best local shows and national shows in the area, starting with Mason and Myers in the morning, The Dan Patrick Show, The Freak Show with John Renshaw, and Inside the Press Box, as well as high school, college, and professional games. Sick of the same old watered-down sports talk? Look no further than 1450 The Sports Buzz and 1450thesportsbuzz.com.
Or go online now for more information on inpatient and outpatient programs at the City of Hope Recovery Center.
3 out of 4 Americans know they need life insurance, and many who have it know they don't have enough. Sound like you? You can guarantee those you love $200,000, $500,000, $750,000 or more with life insurance through Matrix Direct. Just look, less than $16 a month buys a 40-year-old man a $250,000 term life policy. That's up to 3 times what you can get from other companies for the same price.
Call 800-893-4667 or go to matrixdirect.com. That's 800-893-4667.
What's up, fam? It's your boy, Chef Kevin Nelson, and I'm inviting you to join me on my brand new show, Down and Out with Chef K. Come join me for an African-American culinary experience of a lifetime. Down and Out with Chef K. This fall, WBNA 21.
The season never ends on the Red Blue Review. At Kentucky, we're covering a national basketball championship.
And it's Louisville's turn next year, right?
It's our turn every week on Red and Blue.
Greg Brum, Nick Coffey tonight, the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org, and we've got full phone lines, but we're still taking your calls. We got an hour tonight till midnight. 964-2121. Tom, you're up. Tom, you're up.
Yes. I like to find out, I'm going to say about the same thing I said last week. Why is Pitino so stubborn with Russ Smith? If there's one man U of L can afford not to have on the team, it is Russ Smith, in my opinion. And I would rather have the ball in his hands than anybody at the end of the game when the game's on line. Has he ever thought about sitting Siva down for a while so he won't get 2 fouls in the first 3 or 4 minutes like he does every game?
Well, that's a good point.
Why,
yeah, go
and what's wrong with why did Pitino push Swapshire out? Is he going to do that with Russ Smith when these 2 new point guards come in next year?
Yeah, Tom. You know what, Tom, I mean, I understand where you're coming from in some of that there, Tom, but, you know, the thing about Siva, you mentioned Siva, and almost Siva is who he is.
Absolutely.
He's going to get every now and then, or more often than not, 2 quick fouls. He's going, I wish they had a stat, minutes lost to foul trouble. And kept that.
Louisville fans to be tracking that.
Yeah, he misses significant time with 2 fouls. Then he goes back in, he gets a 3rd right away, a 4th right away. That's who he is. And really, Rick only kind of tweaks Siva around. I mean, he doesn't overhaul Siva's whole game. And I mean, with Russ,
doesn't overanalyze it.
It's just must be killing him inside watching Russ take those shots. But I thought he had gotten over that. Let Russ be Russ. Siva, you know, Siva's going to be Siva. That's who you have.
I don't think you have to sit him in an in-game situation like that, even when he's playing as badly as he was. But it goes back to what we said and what Mike said. Not only is there not anybody else on this team that would love to have the ball in that, you would love to have the ball in that situation at the end of the game than Russ Smith. But there's nobody else in the country that I can think of off the top. I mean, yes, there's some great guards out there, but as far as just a guy who's going to get down and get to the rim, even if he turned the ball over 3 times in a row previously, he's a guy who is going to create and make things happen. And it's not a knock on Siva. It's just a credit to Russ Smith and what he's been able to do. And Siva is 1,000-point scorer. I think he's second in all-time in assists. But
he's been better offensively this year
at the end of games
than he has been.
Are not great, have not been great for him his whole career. And I remember the game against West Virginia his sophomore year. I remember the game against Vanderbilt where he went coast to coast. And I mean, I remember that. But whenever it's a broken down play, like not a fast thing. Yes, when you have to slowly think about how you're going to attack, it's just not his thing. And Russ Smith that's clearly something he's shown that he can do.
Yes, I mean, he has shown he can do it. I know there was, before we go to our callers, you had an interesting item on your blog this week. Who should lead the team in shot attempts? Russ Smith leads the team. I personally think he should lead the team. I think the team it scores more points when he leads the team, and I think everybody's more aggressive when he is shooting and everybody's crashing the boards or going after the loose ball. Many people thought Wayne Blackshear should lead the team in shots. You actually threw out Shane Bohannon, though, and you have a good case to make for Shane.
I think Shane Bohannon he's a guy who, and you mentioned this to me off air, if he's a guy that gets in the high post, he's much more able to make plays because he's quick for his size. He can take somebody off the dribble, and usually if he catches that ball on the high post against the zone, he's going to dunk on somebody.
I like him better than Gorgie, to be honest with you. Gorgie has a nice touch, but I don't want him shooting 15-footers.
And that's really all he's done there when he's caught it there, which is not to say he doesn't have the green light, but there's other better options, I think.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Lloyd.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Lloyd. How's it going?
Good, man. I got a question. I'm Rick's #1 fan, but let's say 3 or 4 years from now, when he decides to leave the program, who do you think has got a better chance to replace him out of these 3 guys? Billy Donovan, his son Richard, or Brad Stevens from Butler?
Well, if it was 3 or 4 years from now, I don't know if it'd be Richard's time. I don't think it'll be 3 or 4 years. Rick Pitino will be here till he's 70. He'll finish that contract. Rick Pitino will finish that contract. And, right now, I mean, is there a better guy than Brad Stevens coaching?
I don't know. I was early on.
Yeah.
I was not. I mean, I
didn't think his style fit.
Exactly.
Louisville.
I always thought Brad Stevens was a good coach. He's obviously, his results speak for themselves. But I just never thought, well, yes, he's doing that, but yet he's not going undefeated in Horizon League play.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can mentally motivate his guys on the big stage and do those kind of things. But and his recruiting for Butler is good for Butler, but could he do that at a school like Louisville? And I don't know if he really fits style-wise, but it's hard to discredit him for what he's done with less.
Yeah. I think Donovan would maybe get the first call still at this point, but I tell you what, put me on, we'll check the Sunday Sports Buzz 10 years from now, because Rick Pitino, when he's 72 and he decides to retire, Richard Pitino is going to be the next coach in 10 years.
I think you and I might be the only people in the city that actually think that, but I'm with you. I think if Richard has another stop after FIU, I think that's what Rick's wanting to happen.
Okay, real quick, let's get Frank in. Frank, you're up.
All right, how you doing today?
Good.
That's good. I got a problem with the way that Pitino was coaching. He turned around and was coaching the guys in all 3 games that we lost, basically. He wouldn't call them from pushing off. It's like he wouldn't tell the referees, why are they pushing off like they were? They bringing the ball up the court. They was using their offhand to guard the men off. That's illegal. And they wouldn't call it because Pitino didn't get on them.
Well, I mean, I don't see that called a lot.
You don't see it called a lot, and I can tell you this, Rick Pitino, I've noticed this over the last 5 years, he just doesn't talk to the refs that much. He really doesn't. You'd like to see it more because then maybe he could get calls down the stretch, but he doesn't speak much to the refs.
All right, let's take a break. We still have another 30 minutes with everyone, so give us a call, 964-2121. This is the Sunday Sports Buzz, presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Smart shopper, 'cause this is how you roll. You love your car, it's your best friend. There's one thing that you know. Before you drive around in any city or town, you want to show her up, Yeah, this is how you roll. That's what we're all about. Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Joe here for Joe's OK Bayou. There are 2 things I've learned in the almost 20 years of doing business. First, every Cajun has their own secret recipe to a good gumbo. And second, I never claim to be better than Mama's cooking. We've been cooking up true Cajun for a long time now, and I think we're starting to win over some moms. Well, there might be a few tough moms out there yet to convince, but we're making progress. Stop in today and see for yourself how we measure up to moms.
Joe's okay by you. It's okay by me. Mama.
Hey, Jenny Merriman here from 21 Live, and it's a fresh new year, and we have fresh new deals for you. Everything that you need for 2013 from head to toe, literally. You can find it all the time if you stop by our website, shop21live.com. We know that you have New Year's resolutions. Maybe you're off course. We've got all the best deals from Kentuckiana to get you back on track. So check out our website, shop21live.com, and of course, watch us here on ION Saturday mornings at 10.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We're here every Sunday night, 11 to 12. It's the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org. We've been focused on Louisville basketball so far in the show, Nick Coffey and I. Let's turn a little bit real quick to UK. They got a win yesterday at home over LSU after losing during the week at Alabama. Do you feel Kentucky turning it around? Poitras, I know, had a better game yesterday. Do you feel that they've turned the corner?
I don't know if they've turned the corner. I do see there's glimpses of where, okay, this team can probably get it together, win plenty of games, and not really have to have any threat of not making the tournament. They go on to Auburn last weekend and get a win. And then they kind of take a step back at Alabama. That's a tougher place to play than a lot of people give it credit for, I think. But, I will say this, there's little things that come back about Kentucky, and I just think that Archie Goodwin taking bad shots. Certain guys not being able to play defense, things like that. But yesterday, I mean, they looked really, despite the opponent, they looked pretty good for the most part of that game. But then towards the end, they kind of had a slip up. So I really don't think that they're going to be in any threat to not make the tournament. But and as long as they keep winning the games like yesterday, games that they can't afford to lose. I mean, you lose to LSU at home.
Ooh, that another home loss will be
yes,
tough over
very
time.
tough because, and I think they're going to have to beat. They are going to have to beat Missouri or Florida once to be able to go into the SEC tournament without any kind of really panic. But if they don't get either of those wins and they kind of just barely get by, they're going to need to win. I'd say at least 1 or 2 games in the SEC tournament to feel comfortable.
Yeah. Let's right now, before we go to the callers, let's predict the conference records for both Louisville and Kentucky. Louisville now 4-3 in the conference. What is their final conference record?
I went optimistic, hoping they turn this whole thing around. I said 14-4. I think the one game that they're going to lose, I think it's going to be Cincinnati. I just think that's a bad matchup for Louisville. I think it's a bad matchup for Louisville. I think Notre Dame is kind of falling a little bit. I think Syracuse on the road will be tough, but I really think that, as bad as Louisville's played against Syracuse the last couple games, I really do think that's a matchup that Louisville could do well at.
You know, I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going 12-6.
Wow.
I was going between 13-5 and 12-6, but I could see a loss at Syracuse, at Notre Dame on a college game day night.
Sure.
Game day will be there. And then Cincinnati, too, at home. I think Mick plays them well.
There's a lot of games that they could potentially lose.
Yeah.
I mean, they lose to Villanova like they did. They play like they did against Georgetown. They could lose tomorrow. It could happen. But, yeah, you're correct.
I was just teetering on 13-5, but I'm going to go 12-6.
They get then with that? I mean, that's...
Well, that's the thing. I think then you have to go to the final, the Big East tournament, try to win the Big East tournament. I still think they'll get a 2 seed. I think they'll still get a 2 seed. Somehow they'll find a way to win the Big East tournament.
If they turn it around the rest of the regular season and have a really good showing in the Big East tournament, do you think with the parity that they could still get a 1 seed?
They could if they're 14-4, like you say. I think that's a 1 seed. I think 14-4 is a 1 seed for them. I'm going to say 12-6, win the Big East tournament, you get a 2 seed. How about Kentucky?
I said 11-7. I think they're still going to win the games that they should, but I have a tough time when I've watched them play a top 50 RPI team. They've not been able to get it done. I think they're going to lose to Florida twice. I think they're going to lose to Missouri, and I think they're going to lose at Tennessee.
Yeah, I think they'll lose at Tennessee. I think they'll lose at Ole Miss.
Yes, true.
They're going to lose some road games. You know what? I went a little more. I went 12-6 on them because I think at home they can beat Missouri and maybe pull an upset on Florida. If they don't beat Florida at home, I'm with you on 11-7. But I looked and I saw losses and I'm thinking, well, that is the SEC and Kentucky should win those games in the SEC. So I'm saying UK is 6 seed. What about you?
6 seed, I think they would a little too high. I mean, it's possible. Yeah. I think if they go on a run, and I guess if they finish at 11-7 or 12-6 in SEC play, and they get to maybe the semifinals or the final of the SEC tournament, then I think they probably would get a 6 or 7, maybe an 8. And it's a lot of it just has to do with because the parity. There's not who else are you going to give that 6 seed to?
Okay, let's go to Mayor. Hey, Mayor.
Hey, gentlemen. Good to see you tonight. Good to talk to you as well. But I tell you this. If Rick Pitino goes 12-6 this year, he can only thank that Final Four run from last year from not putting him in full-time horse racing business. Because I tell you what, you guys, everyone can roll their eyes and talk about this, but this is a guy coming off 3 teams in a row prior to last year that he had everyone so schizophrenic, where we flamed out in the Elite Eight, just absolutely, pooped all over ourselves in the first round of 2 tournament games. And we come along and have this nice run last year. And I think that's a valid point. Now, a couple of things that I kind of take task to is this. Louisville fans, because of last year, sitting around saying, oh, he'll right the ship. He'll get all this together. The guys will start playing together. Let me tell you something, guys. And I'm a fan that has reservations in Atlanta for the Final Four with every intention to go there if the cards are there. But I'll tell you this. There's no guarantee he's going to turn this thing around. It's the same team that we had, but a lot of the parts are playing in a different manner, like a very soft Gorgie, a Shane Bohannon who's cost himself 2.5 more years of college basketball by his pretty bad play so far, and an offense that Rick has done nothing to do with developing jump shooters. It's all predicated on dribble around the top, look for a layup, or throw it out and get a 3. And it's a little bit discerning for me when I look at that. And also at the end of the day, when fans would say, well, especially people apologize for Pitino, well, you know, he's got his defense. Well, our defense gives up the 13th worst percentage for three-point shooting in the Big East. And in other words, we get smoked from three. And when you look at teams that you're going to run into the tournament, like an Indiana, a Michigan State, any of these bigger, better supposed teams, they're going to light you up from three. It would be amazing, and I'm not an Indiana fan, and I don't think they're very good. All they do is shoot threes, but it would be amazing to see our defense play against them right now. It would probably give up 20 threes. It would be ugly. But
I hear what you're saying, Mayor, but remember 2.5 weeks ago, though. I mean, this team looked like the odds-on favorite. And they have that potential, don't they, Nick, to play that way. That's why I think they can turn it around.
The second half against UConn, I remember that game thinking, okay, I don't know many teams that could beat them. And, of course, I was proven wrong. But how things have changed.
Yes, things have changed. We're taking your calls, 964-2121, but they can change back. And we'll be back in a moment. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by livingforless.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Get everything you need to make that old ride look new again at Smart Shoppers, the region's largest auto body supplier, providing you the full line of professional-grade materials at the best prices around. Paint like the pros with a full line of House of Color paint products, only at
Smart Shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Joe here for Joe's OK Bayou. There are two things I've learned in the almost 20 years of doing business. First, every Cajun has their own secret recipe to a good gumbo. And second, I never claim to be better than Mama's cooking. We've been cooking up true Cajun for a long time now, and I think we're starting to win over some moms. Well, there might be a few tough moms out there yet to convince, but we're making progress. Stop in today and see for yourself how we measure up to mom.
Joe's okay by you. It's okay by me. I mean, Mama.
I thought all cleaning services were the same until Molly made my carpets fresh, until Molly made my bathroom glow, until Molly made my kitchen shine. I thought all cleaning services were too expensive until Molly made my day. Now, meet the cleaning professionals that work as hard as you do. Call this number for your free in-home consultation and customized estimate. Wow, Molly Maid was here.
What's up, fam? It's your boy, Chef Kevin Nelson, and I'm inviting you to join me on my brand new show, Down and Out with Chef K. Come join me for an African-American culinary experience of a lifetime. Down and Out with Chef K. This fall, WBNA 21.
The season never ends on the Red Blue Review. At Kentucky, we're covering a national basketball championship.
And it's Louisville's turn next year, right?
It's our turn every week on Red and Blue.
Busy night here, talking Louisville basketball and Kentucky basketball with Nick Coffey from the CardinalConnect.com and Inside the Press Box. I'm your host, Greg Brom, and we're going right to Mike. Mike, you're up.
Hello. Chris and Greg, hello again, fellas.
Make your comment, Mike. Thanks for calling.
Hey, hello, guys.
You're on.
Hello, guys. Hello again.
All right, let's go on, Mike. Hello to you. All right, we're going to go to the next caller here in a second, Nick. Okay, the Pitt game. Do you see it? I mean, do you see him coming out and playing a lot better?
I think being able to come back home and play and get into the Yum Center, and really, I think that could get the whole morale of the team going up if they go out and perform and get a win in front of their crowd, in front of their fans. That could, if they've never needed it more. And this is one time, you never want to play 3 games in a 7-day stretch like they have been. But this is one time where you could really get rid of this right away. You go out and get a win tomorrow. Yes, you still have lost 3 or 4, but at the same time, you've now got back into a winning streak. You don't want to go and lose tomorrow and then have to sit all week on a 4-game losing streak and then having to host Marquette, who is one of the better teams in the Big East.
Tomorrow would cause the worry meter to go. If lost tomorrow would be 9 and flashing red lights if they lost tomorrow. They're going to win tomorrow against Pitt. Okay, let's go to Lamar.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, man, the only concerns I have, honestly, we can complain about Russ, we can complain about Peyton. The only concerns I have, honestly, is Coach P taking us away from what we normally are good at. I mean, we're predicated off of our defense, our pressure, wearing these teams down. And, when you don't have Russ in the game and you don't have your best players in the games at certain times, you're handicapping us. And you're not allowing us to be who we are. And it's been shown in the last couple of games, but at the same time, what we have to do is we have to have some leadership. The reason our team is great, can be great, let me say that, is because of our guard play. And our guard play has to pick up. And then if you think about it, they have a play on here that they showed this guy made this spectacular tip. Well, yeah, that looked great, but Wayne didn't block out.
No, 100%.
Nobody
was around that ball when it hit the rim.
And we have to get back. My question for him is, why are we not playing all of our bench, which helps us be who we are, because we're wearing these teams down? We've been only playing 6 to 7 guys. We have more than that. Van Treese didn't play. Ware didn't play. Harold only got in the game just a little bit.
And I tell you what, and thanks for calling, Lamar, but we
Lamar.
talked about it a little bit off the air, Montrezl Harrell, a guy long, athletic, that has not gotten a lot of time. I know Rick was mad at him for missing those free throws, but you know what? He gives you a lot inside.
And when you talk about guys, Gorgie fumbling balls down low, kind of taking his game more to the perimeter here lately, or to the free throw line, Shane Mahanan just not being able to hold on to it. Montrezl Harrell's just going to dunk on people, and that's what he does. And there's never been a game that screams SVT more than that Georgetown game yesterday.
Yes.
I was hoping he was over there ripping off the sweats, getting ready to come in at the scores table.
Bloody noses.
But no Van Treese. I don't get it. Lamar made some really good points about, why are we not going back to what we were doing earlier, and he brought up the leadership. There's not been any leadership. Nobody's really wanted to come up and say, okay, grab my teammates by the jersey. Okay, let's get this together. We're not going to lose another game. We're better than that. Earlier in the season, even when Siva wasn't doing it with scoring, he was the guy who did that. He would talk to his teammates. He was very vocal, had that confidence about him. But now goes back to what we said about the whole
team. Can't do that from the bench.
Yes, they've lost. They've lost. They're not assured of themselves. And yes, when Siva's in foul trouble, what is he going to do?
It's like he's not even part. I mean, when he misses 10-minute stretches of the first half, or long stretches where he has to play with 4 fouls and can't even play the defense he needs to play. You can play. I mean, it's amazing. He'll play belly-to-belly defense all over the court, not get a foul, but he'll get one 80 feet from the basket, just reaching in for no reason. I mean, it happens all the time, but it's really hurting. You're right, the leadership moment of the entire team suffers because Peyton's not on the court, he's on the bench. Okay, let's go to Kobe.
Hello?
Hey, Kobe.
Hey, good evening. First of all, I wanted to shout out that Card Connect, the Cardinal Connect app, the application for the Android phones. I've been using it. I get the notifications, YouTube videos, the pods, and you can share everything. It's a great app. I advise everybody to go get it. But I just wanted to mention, again, what the other caller was talking about with the guard play. Like, we have almost, I would consider we have the best backcourt in the nation, but nobody is like Siva bring the ball up and get locked in with the pick and roll, and he just gets confused instead of just slashing to the. We used to call it drunk driving, like he'll go down the lane and just throw up shots. I'd rather see him do that than to get caught up in these hedges or whatever they call them with the pick and roll. So that's my comment.
Well, thanks for the call. Thanks for the kind words, Kobe. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Cardinal. I'd recommend it to CardinalConnect.com. Yeah, same thing with Siva. Sometimes Siva just going in the lane stirs it up. That's the same thing about Russ just driving and taking a shot. I think sometimes it's better than stagnation of throwing passes around with no purpose that the offense sometimes get into the
You make yourself so much easier to defend when you attack off a pick and roll like Siva does most of the time. Russ Smith makes the defense, he gives the defense hell. You are going to either have to foul him, you're going to have to, I mean, you can sometimes force him into bad shots, but you make yourself so much easier to defend, and I can't think of a play in any point in the season where Louisville was easier to guard than that last play of the game against Georgetown, just pounding the ball for 30 seconds, then let's just dribble off one screen and just jack up a shot. I didn't get it.
And a lot of it, I think, had to do with there wasn't enough time for when he was hedged. The defender on the screener came out on him. He didn't have time to do anything. He almost had to shoot then because I think they waited just a tad bit too long. Down one, go with 8 to 10 seconds. Shoot with 8. Don't go at 8 and shoot at 5 or 4. I don't think you have enough time left. Okay, we're going to take a break now. Come back. We got Brad on the line. We're still taking calls. 964-2121. The Sunday Sports Buzz presented by LivingForLess.org.
Sports Buzz will return after these messages from our sponsors.
Smart shopper, 'cause this is how you roll. You love your car, it's your best friend. There's one thing that you know. Before you drive around in any city or town, you want to show off, you know. Yeah, this is how you roll. That's what we're all about. Smart shoppers, 'cause this is how you roll.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
Don't let computer problems get you down. Call Igloo On-Site Computer Repair. Our award-winning service staff can help you. Residential or business, drop-off or on-site, we can fix it. Igloo On-Site Computer Repair. Visit us online or call us to schedule an appointment today.
Get all the secrets from your favorite local restaurants. Sundays at 4, weeknights at 6. And see them all in high def on Insight Channel 916. Secrets of Louisville chefs on location at all your favorite local hotspots. And Secrets live from Sullivan University's Kitchen Theater. Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs takes you across the state. It's new local TV on the air and online at newlocaltv.com. All local, all positive, and now in HD. Only on Ion 21. Get all the secrets Sundays at 4, weeknights at 6.
If you like the Sunday Sports Buzz, make sure you tune in during the week. Mason and Myers in the morning. I call in to Jeff and Rashawn, talk to them on Tuesdays and Fridays around 7:15, 7:30. Brought to you by InsureMax. Chad or Alan Hennessy, 479-4085. Great guys. They'll take care of you for all your home, life, and auto needs. And make sure you tune in throughout the week. My man Nick Coffey right there at Inside the Press Box, 5 to 6 weekdays. We got Mason and Myers. We've got The Freak. Dan Patrick, national radio show. Larry Glover Live. We got Cards and Cats all covered on 1450. And we're covering the Cards and the Cats tonight, talking mostly really about Louisville. Terry Rozier outscored Louisville by 17 points himself yesterday. He got 68. Nick.
Pretty unreal.
That's amazing. I mean, from all accounts I've gotten reports, I mean, he is the real deal.
Oh, he's improved so much since last year. He was supposed to be a part of this year's class. Louisville wishes they had a guy like him now, a guy who can really fill it up. He's just a pure scorer. I can't imagine it working out better, him coming to Louisville, playing in front of his fans, future fans, and scoring 68 points. 68
points. Amazing performance by Terry Rozier. We've got full phone lines. Let's go to Brad.
Hey guys, I had a question for you. I was wondering if you saw Peyton Siva and Russ Smith fitting in anywhere in the NBA. I've always thought that Peyton Siva was just a little bit overrated. I know he's a fan favorite and the fans love him, Pitino loves him, but he's always struck me as being just a little bit overrated in reality. And as far as tournament time, I've always thought Pitino's the best tournament coach in the country. I think there's no doubt come tournament time he'll get guys to play. He did it with Kentucky. He's proved it last year with the Cards, just in the past. He always gets guys ready for the tournament.
Well, I agree with you there, and I think he's pointing to the tournament. He knows this team's going to be judged solely on March, and he'll have time to turn it around then. How about pro prospects for Peyton and Russ?
Peyton Siva, I think, for the NBA would need to find a certain scenario, a certain situation that really fit him. Russ Smith, I think, Pitino mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if there's another player that's played at Louisville that's better fit for a 24-second shot clock than Russ Smith. I think, and I mean, right now he's projected as a late first-round pick in this year's draft. I think he comes back. I don't think his stock will be high enough, but I could see. I mean, call me crazy.
If he's a late first-round pick, he's gone. I mean, how much more is he going to improve?
If that's the case, then yes. But I mean, you never know how that's going to really fall out. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy who he gets on the right team. He can be one of those 6-man, then Jason Terry kind of player.
And I think his defense really helps him too.
One of the best
at the next level.
On-ball defender. He would. I mean, he could really help a lot of teams.
All right, Troy, you're up.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Greg, you mentioned something earlier about Louisville scoring in the 70s, the 80s, and that all falls back on defense. And this team will have the defense by the end of the year. Pitino's been preaching that they don't have it right now. I mean, they do play with intensity, but they don't have the D that he wants.
Yeah.
And what they have to do in the half-court set is we have to execute better, and we have to become a better passing team. If you watch the teams we play pretty good defense, but the teams we play have to pass so well against us, and there's just too much dribbling going on between Siva and Russ. And we just need to execute better. The D will be there, and tomorrow night will be a big win.
Yeah, I agree with you on the defense, and Louisville has to get causing turnovers.
They've got to be able. They got to quit fouling so much.
I think that gives them the advantage over an IU or something like that in a tournament setting. Is their defense uglies up the other team,
and it can produce points. It can get you. I mean, they at one point led the country in points off turnovers.
And you know what? In the passing. I get the passing. They got to be better passing. But I think they played well when Russ was taking the ball occasionally. When the passing got stagnant, he just said, well, I'm going to go shoot it and score.
Yeah.
Or, I think that fits them offensively better. I hate to say it because it doesn't sound team ball, but I think they're almost better when they throw it around a little bit. If nothing happens pretty immediate, Russ, go.
I know we got to get to our callers real quick, but you bring up a good point. For as much as people say maybe Russ getting too many shots is not fair to the other guys, there's also something to be said for the fact that when Russ is able to be Russ and do these things offensively, it can hide some of the flaws offensively for the other guys.
Yeah. All right, let's go to, we got a minute, and we'll go to Lip.
How you guys doing?
Good.
I'd like to comment on, I played some ball back in high school and stuff. I'm not Rick Pitino, and by no means, but as far as the defense goes and the fouling, Peyton gets in silly fouls right off the bat. I mean, he's been known for that. When you're playing aggressive defense full court, you don't run alongside a guy and reach in and in front of him and stuff like that and get ticky-tack fouls, on the other end of the court. You run and get in front of him and turn it, make him go the other way. We don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's Peyton.
That's what he does.
He's going to do.
I don't see it changing, but we can be hopeful.
All right. Great show. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Thanks
Anytime.
for joining us, and come back next week, 11 to 12, the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by LivingForLess.org.